Hello everyone, SamiCraft here, and welcome to another video. Today we're taking a look at the Ballad Singer, which is, from what I understand, kind of a game book, visual novel sort of thing, RPG-ish thing. It certainly seemed interesting and boasts that it has a ton of different routes and stuff, and a very kind of dynamic storyline that adapts as you go along, which I'm always interested in claims like that, because it's a tough design to challenge branching narratives, at least in kind of this interactive narrative is an interesting design challenge. So I'm always curious to see how the different ways that the game design companies kind of go about it. Anyways, I should note, of course, this is an early access version of the game, but it is available on Steam right now for like $22, $23, something like that. But given this is an early access, if you're seeing this a couple months on, it's possible that maybe new things have been added and stuff. Like, we've got some grayed out things here, which I presume are going to be added in eventually, but I guess aren't here right now for the initial release. But what is here, we are going to take a look at, and one of the things that is here is the campaign. So, let's dive in. Alright. Okay, so I guess we start with one of two, because these guys are locked for some reason. I'm not sure if that's an early access thing or a amount of gameplay thing. So we can choose between these two here. We've got Leon, the Master of Elements, who has a lot of challenge, or not quite certain how to read these bars. Starting alignment, okay, potential opponents. He seems to be kind of the, yeah, we'll go with, Guren, a ranger. That sounds fun. This is where the story will begin. Oh, wow. Difficulty levels, okay. So we can go for Hesperia Citizen. Perfect to know the story. Many manual saves. What does this do? Okay. Manual saves are useful to avoid losing progress. Great if you want to live with constant fear of death. Strategic. You can't foresee all possibilities. Death is inevitable. We'll be a soldier. We're not gonna be a citizen. Sheesh. Alright. There's this entire description here. And Guren comes from the Tower of Balnor, the outcome of a magical experiment. Her past is almost completely unknown, as the life expectancy of these creatures born of magic is quite brief. She intends to live her life as honorably as possible. Expert tracker and of good soul, she always tries to see the best in everything. However, this doesn't mean she can't be practical and ruthless. A skilled archer, and Guren is a fearsome foe to face from a distance. She's utterly loyal to the rebels and wants to bring peace to the world, so she'll follow any cause she finds just. And Guren has a huge potential. She needs your help to change Hesperia's fate. Okay. Interesting. I guess we're doing standard because we have nothing else. Challenge level seems to be high, probably, I think. Combat skill, a 4. Potential opponents, decent amounts. No fame, or practically no fame. And starting alignment, kind of middle line, seems to favor... Unless this is one of those weird bars that starts from the middle and goes out. Anyways, but favoring the blues, which I guess is the rebels, which she's utterly loyal to. Alright, let's go. Campaign name, new campaign, sure. Not sure how long these campaigns are. Oh, the prologue, nice. Also a map. That's cool. I like maps.
Several years have passed since Leon set out to seek his obsessions. His stubbornness resulted in a war for the conquest of Kael'Sinar. However, He has yet to acquire all the knowledge he needs to dominate the nation, and with time, the entire world. As part of Kael'Senar has fallen under his heel, the resistance has risen to stop him. The head of the rebels has hidden in the Ismaran forest. He has called for a council to end the war and destruction wreaked by Leon. He is aware that people need a hero to inspire them, if he is to gain back the trust that continues to falter day after day. The head of the rebels is none other than Raymond, the wizard who once ruled the Tower of Balinor. He turns to a ranger to search far and wide for the only person who could take on the role of such a hero, the famed Daragast Layar. As Raymond mulls over the desperate situation, he sips a glass of wine in his austere tent. He indulges in a singular, quiet moment before the volunteer for Daragast's search is called inside. And Guren, a young, green-skinned woman, steps up. She's a sylph and an expert tracker. She belongs to a new race, another failed magic experiment. However, instead of isolating herself from the world, she wishes to be part of it, so as to give her life meaning. And Guren wishes for acceptance. She longs to leave behind all the years of abuse and mistreatments. She has joined the resistance, seeking deliverance from her past.
And Guren, I'm glad you've come forward for this mission.
I want to help the cause, Raymond. Sylph replies. Where do you suggest I begin?
The most recent intel we have dates a few years back, and comes from 3 different locations. You could try looking in the city of Akma, the forest of Rulath, or in Rost. Unfortunately, we can't tell which are trustworthy.
I'll depart immediately, and Guren declares.
I'll be eagerly waiting for your return.
And Guren bows to Raymond and takes her leave to start packing for her journey. She needs supplies, weapons, and money. But first, she needs to choose where she's heading.
Yes, most certainly. Continue, I suppose. Alright. We've got Akma, Rulath Forest, and Rost. By the looks of things, it looks like we've got kind of a town, maybe a city here, and a forest. I kind of feel like our skills would be best utilized in the forest. And also, we know her fame is very low, maybe not necessarily a people's type of person, so I think let's go to Rulath Forest. It might be worthwhile. We don't really have much to go on. I mean, I see a green woman right here, and I think she belongs in the forest. That might be stereotyping, I'm sorry, but that's what I calls it how I sees it, and I see the forest. Let's go.
The walk to Rulath Forest was long. Before you is a dark maze of trees and entangled branches. You'd rather not go into the woods now, as it's evening. But you need to find Daragast as soon as possible, so you wander into the forest. The path unravels between the trees, and as you advance, you hear some wolves howl. You rush forward as the call of the wild beasts grows closer. Finally, you spot a trembling light in the distance. Perhaps the window of a cabin? You hope to get there before the wolves are upon you, but it's too late. 3 pairs of yellow eyes point your way, and you'll have to face them.
Alright. Wolves, right? Is that what's going on? Wolves, yes. Hurl a volley of knives or draw a short sword. Well, it has already been established that our character is better at range, so I say hurling a volley of knives is what makes sense here. Just based on skills alone. And actually, historically, that is the way humans have dealt with... And I know she's not technically human exactly, but historically that is how humans have dealt with these sorts of issues historically, right? I mean, we invented throwing spears, we invented bow and arrow, we invented the slingshot, we invented guns, alright? We work best against fierce animals with claws and stuff at a range, generally speaking. So I say, volley of knives.
With woodland predators, the best strategy is to strike first, and quickly. You can't show any fear. You unsheathe your knives with both hands and hurl them in one single fluid movement. You hit the first 2 wolves straight between the eyes. The third beast immediately stops growling, turns tail, and runs. Nature's perils seem to have come to an end, but your ranger's instincts suggest otherwise. Ruloth might still have a few surprises in store yet. However, you're also in a hurry to find out who lives in that cabin. You see 2 paths before you. One is a stone road, while the other looks like a beaten track. You close in and study both carefully before deciding which one to take. You may fall into a trap. The stone path is clearly the work of men. The other looks more like the result of animals passing by. Both could be safe, but you never know.
Yeah, okay, a beaten track. From what I understand of this mission, and honestly some of it may have gone over my head, we're not looking for a bunch of wild beasts. Alright? That's not what we're looking for here. I mean, I know I took us into the forest immediately, but thinking on it now, we do want some civilization. So I say we go for the stone road.
Is flanked by trees, but goes straight to the cabin. You're almost there when suddenly you feel the stones move under your feet. A contraption goes off to your right, leaving you no time to react. A swarm of wooden spikes jab at your tender flesh. Whoever lives in the cabin must be extremely cautious, and probably set up some traps. A wooden grid with spikes hits you right on. You're not dead yet, but you can feel your life force leaving you. Your adventure ends here.
Okay. Well, that didn't take long. I guess we're dead. Choose your fate. Let's see. Continue with another character, which we can't do apparently. Repeat the fatal choice. I guess we'll repeat the fatal choice then. Alright.
With woodland predators, the best strategy is to strike
Beaten
first
track.
and quickly.
Let's go.
You can't show any fear. The path you've chosen seems to lead away from the cabin. It keeps changing its course. You're afraid you might run into more wolves, or perhaps some other nocturnal creatures. Darkness is falling fast, and even though you're an expert, you'd rather avoid traveling like this.
I guess we keep going, right?
Your perseverance pays off. You almost didn't expect to see the cabin's light again. You've arrived directly on the opposite side. The window lights give away that someone inside is awake. Another howl echoes in the forest. You shiver and quicken your step. You're so close now that if someone opened the door in time, you wouldn't have to face another fight. You approach the cabin and breathe a sigh of relief. As you knock, the door opens on its own. Inside, the light of several candles reflects on hundreds of glass vials, diffusing a red glare. There are so many you can barely count them. An old blind woman sits at the center of the room.
I've been expecting you, and Koran the Sill.
She whispers with a squawking voice. How do you know my name?
I know many things, and I foresee others. I'm rarely wrong.
Are you a seer?
Yes.
Can you help me? You ask her, your heart racing.
It will cost you 2 golden coins, 1 for each eye.
Without a single word, you place the coins on the table. You've come prepared. I'm looking for a man, a warrior. His name is Daragast Layar.
There is no one with that name.
He's dead then. You shake your head desperately.
That's not what I said.
What do you mean?
You need to ask the right questions.
Where can I find the person who lived by that name?
That's better.
The old woman smiles and continues.
Look for him in Rost.
What's he doing in Rost?
He plays a different instrument, but the song remains the same.
You'd like to ask more questions, but the old lady raises her hand.
Rest on the straw mattress in the back of the room. You'll resume your journey tomorrow morning.
Your instincts suggest not to object, and you go lie down. The following morning, you wake up to find the house deserted, and you feel empty somehow. You resume your path right away.
Okay. I guess we're going to Rost.
The village is quite rural, and is mainly dwelt in by farmers and shepherds. You have no idea who to look for. The intel you've gathered is scarce. The only thing you have is your man's name. Rost's inhabitants don't seem to fear you, even though your look is definitely out of the ordinary. Perhaps they've seen strange creatures already. You ask a few people for Daragast Layar, but no one can help you. You get to the blacksmith's shed, and a grizzled man with a toned body quickly glances at you. He continues striking at the horseshoe he's working on with his hammer. The metal seems to be singing.
How may I help you?
The blacksmith asks. I'm looking for a man.
Name?
Daragast Layar. The blacksmith nearly loses his grip on the hammer.
He's dead.
Something tips you off, and you continue to press the man. I don't think so. Your reaction speaks volumes. The blacksmith threatens you with his hammer, his eyes flaming.
You'd better listen to me and go back where you came from.
Boy, man, that's rude. Okay, let's see. So I have two options here. One's a bit more friendly than the other. Calm down, I didn't mean to tick you off. I'm... something. Or, listen, old man, tell me where I can find him, I guess. Don't show weakness. We keep pressing on. We're on to something, we don't want to lose it.
The blacksmith jumps at you like a snake, throwing you to the ground. He's much faster and stronger. You've never met anyone like him in your entire life. The hammer rises over his head and stops, but an inch from your nose. You don't say one word. Both of you are wheezing, shocked by what has just happened. Suddenly, the blacksmith stands up and lets you free.
You are in Ismarin, right?
You get to your feet as well, and nod.
Who leads you?
Raymond.
Tell him I'll be with you in a few days.
Without replying, you turn on your heels and leave. The blacksmith, Daragast, enters his home. He opens a chest hiding his most prized weapon, the one that made him famous all over Hesperia. His polished rapier.
The sword of Daragast? Fascinating. So now what? Oh. Leon 5 years earlier, apparently. So are we playing as a different character now? Is that what's happening?
For years now, peace has been reigning over the continent of Hesperia. The feats of ancient heroes, warriors, and magicians will live on as legends and children's bedtime stories. Everything is back to normal. Markets and trades are flourishing, raids of marauders are rare, and brigands have mostly taken to dwell in hidden groves and forests. However, wizards have lost control over their dark experiments. The Tower of Balinor has become the cradle of new races and monstrous creatures. They now roam free in the lands of Kael'Sanar and beyond. Leon, a powerful wizard withdrawn to the shadows, belongs to this world. Leon plans to carry out his obscure designs and bring back the darkness of his own past. He had studied at Balinor under the great wizard Raymond until he decided to take his own path. Leon would never forget the people who helped him survive when he was but a boy, age 6, just as he will never forget who took him away from his family, from everyone dear to him, and from his kingdom. Now, he feels the time has come to take everything back. Thanks to his magical talent, he's mastered all of nature's elements, but he has several choices to make. He could expand his powers. The task would set him on the research of the book that would allow him to learn a new type of sorcery bound to blood. His own master had revealed to him the existence of the manuscript. Or he could look for a tomb hiding a crucial artifact, a relic containing the blood of 2 ancient wizards. They both had the power to dominate all 4 of nature's elements, just as he. Of course, he could also recruit some allies. What would be better than befriending a dragon? A hooded figure trudges through the rain, supported by a cane just as tall as him. He has just left the Tower of Balinor and has no intention of turning back. He meditates on his ambitions and craves a new beginning for his life. His heart beats madly as he steps along the path. The dull sky, laden with clouds, mirrors the torment grasping his chest. Leon has a good soul, but he shall bear no limitations to achieve his goals. He faces 3 choices.
3 choices, eh? Retrieve the book, search for the dragon, finds the tomb with the relic. Of these, the dragon seems the most frivolous to me, at least. What's power? I don't like the idea of blood magic, necessarily. Sounds kind of a deal with the devil-y, you know? I think, just find the tomb with the relic. That sounds fun. Let's go.
Leon enters the Rulath Forest, an area that has long served as the home of several outlaws. Reminiscent of his mentor's stories, he remembers that the tomb of Hesperia, the magician who had protected him as a child, should be here. The tomb guards a medallion containing the blood of 2 wizards who, like him, were able to control all 4 elements of nature. He must have it. Thanks to the instructions in the blood magic book, he will uncover the secrets that will allow him to fulfill his claim to power. Leon explores the darkest nooks, looking for telltale signs. A shadowy atmosphere surrounds him, as if he were inside a cemetery, or worse, an open-cast crypt. An ill feeling rushes through him, such as he has never felt in his entire life. After wandering for several hours, Leon finds 2 tombs. They are both just simple mounds of rock, with no apparent markings. However, opening the wrong one might wake up the dead. He examines the tombs more closely, and finds a detail he hadn't noticed before. The first tomb seems to have some old, small, clotted blood stains, while the other displays normal signs of wear due to the effects of time.
Would there be bloodstains on the tomb itself after all these years? I presume it's been a while. I don't know. Tempting. But I think it's a red herring. We're going for the worn out tomb. Counterintuitive, but I think it might work out.
He made the right call. After some major effort and a few hours' work, Leon retrieves the jewel. Weirdly enough, his old keeper's bones weren't inside the tomb, a fact which leaves Leon quite astounded. He takes the silver pendant. The medallion is divided into 3 sections. 2 contain a red liquid, whereas the third is still empty, ready to receive more blood. Leon must now learn to master this type of magic. He's fascinated and can hardly wait.
Alright, interesting. I guess we're continuing. Good to know. Okay, and we're back to here now. Well, I suppose we gotta get the book. I know I said I wasn't really into the whole blood magic thing, but apparently I am now. I have no excuse, that's just how it is.
Leon decides to go after the Book of Blood Magic. He heads northwest for the city of Remagast, close to the border with the cold desert. He might find an old acquaintance there to start issuing his first commands. His journey proceeds smoothly, and after about 1 day, Leon crosses the city gates. His eyes meet a ghastly scene. Remagast is still in ruin. Triumvar Lotanor, the blood wizard who tried to take over Kael'Sanar, had dealt it a harsh blow. Though the wizard was defeated, he had been able to hide away the secrets of his sorcery. Leon had been able to gather such information due to being closely tied to the wizard's story. Their hearts were just as dark. He moves among the alleys of the city, heading to a tavern with a sign so badly faded that the name can no longer be read. He has the feeling that his man might be within those walls. The hall is crowded and the noise is deafening. Nobody notices his entrance, save for a bald, pale head, which turns to face him. His pointed ears move as if they have a life of their own. Leon recognizes him right away and heads for the elf's table. Good day, Ankalimo.
Good day to you, Leon. What brings you here?
My design is moving forward, declares the wizard with ill-concealed pride.
What do you need me to do?
Head to Snelfos, gather the army, take the city, and ready yourselves to move against Balinor, Leon orders.
Has the time finally come?
Indeed.
What are you going to do?
Asks Ankalimo, intrigued. I will retrieve something which will render us invincible.
No time to lose, then.
We need to act now, declares Leon.
Yes, let us move against Balinor, right? That's what it's called. Probably, yeah, Balinor. Also, we'll continue pursuing the book, because it's important. Yo, Dragon probably...
Leon indulges in a night of restful sleep to restore his energy. After fleshing out the last details of his plan with Ankalimo, he resumes his journey to the north. First, however, he must carefully choose the enchantments he'll rely on. Triumvar Lotanor was able to bend all of nature's elements to his will, so he needs to be ready for any circumstance. As evening falls, the wolves' howls echo in the ominous landscape. The wizard comes across an imposing jet tower. Searching around the complex, he locates the door with surprising ease. Leon is skeptical. He had expected some sort of magical ploy to be hiding it. Perhaps all of Triumvar's enchantments were lifted upon his death. However, his sixth sense warns him that something isn't quite right. Examining the tower thoroughly, he finds the bones of a mouse. A trap appears to still be operational. Leon studies the corpse closely and analyzes the ground around it. He notices that the bones are broken and the soil seems to be overturned. The wizard must now choose which magic to use to safely enter the tower. Okay.
Broken bones, soil overturned. That seems to suggest to me some degree of blunt force trauma, I would suppose. I don't know. On the one hand, so what are our options? Shoot a jet of water against the door to, I guess, tear it apart. Lay one hand on the door and turn it to sand. That seems incredibly foolish given the fact that we'd have to touch the door to disarm it. Create a vortex to get to the windows high above. No guarantee the windows are going to be any safer than the door. Alright. Burn the door. It's made of wood and will give in. I mean, that seems to be the most logical choice. But these are tricksy wizards we've got to consider. And there's a couple things. Number one, burning the door is the logical choice. It is probably what any sane person would try first to get through this door. Therefore, obviously that is what the door is probably most protected against. Secondly, fire is not something exclusive to wizards. Any human with enough dedication and work can make a fire and toss it against the door and boom, door's on fire. A jet of water, on the other hand, that is something that humans are not going to be figuring out how to easily procure for at least like another 1,000 years, so a bit more secure, I'd say. So therefore, shoot a jet of water against the door to tear it. Clearly.
Roots suddenly spring up from the ground. They envelop Leon's legs, immobilizing him. The grip is brutal, and he fights to break free. Some of the limbs have separated from the bundle and have begun lashing at him. They pierce through him like spears. In a few moments, they have pitilessly crushed his body.
Yeah. Well, Guess we can't continue the adventure with another character, unfortunately, but we can repeat the fatal choice. So I guess we watered the
Leon
roots.
indulges in a night of restful sleep to restore his energy.
Alright, clearly then, since the roots come from the ground, we gotta use wind, a vortex, to get to the windows, obviously. Who could think anything different?
The window's shutters are open, and Leon enters the tower effortlessly. The room is pitch black, save for a single glimmer of light that shines on a desk. As Leon takes a step forward, the window shut abruptly and everything fades to black. A heavy silence looms over the room. The only sound Leon can hear is a dripping noise that grows increasingly louder until it resembles that of a babbling brook. The water soaks Leon's feet, soon rising to his ankles. Even though he can't see anything, he must hurry. Leon feels his way around the room.
Okay, so there's some sort of water-based trap. We can solidify the floor, but that doesn't necessarily mean more water won't keep coming. Not to mention, if we solidify the floor, and by solidify the floor, yeah, I don't know, I just don't see that working. We can light a flame to know what's going on, but this is water, so I mean, flame's going to be put out. A water barrier, I'd say, is what we do here. I know, we're at the top of a tower. Like, the water can't, surely, it can't stay here forever, right? Water barrier. No question.
His magic doesn't work as he'd hoped. Unfortunately, Leon can't see anything in the room and conjures a random enchantment, which doesn't allow him to oppose the element that threatens him. Unluckily for him, the water flow is so abundant that it submerges him far too quickly. He doesn't have another chance to respond. The water completely invades the place, leaving him trapped. This is the end for Leon, who suffers greatly as he drowns.
Okay, well, let's try again. Ha! Oh my gosh.
The window's shutters are open, and Leon enters the tower.
Alright, take two. Worth noting, so the first trap was ground-based, so we had to use winds to get past it, which is kind of the opposite of the ground. Grounded air, kind of opposite. Fire and water are opposite. Also, maybe being able to see isn't quite as overrated as I thought it would be. Fire. Fight water with fire. You heard it here first.
Searching the room, Leon finds an hourglass on the desk, the only object in the otherwise unadorned chamber. Leon tries to pick it up, but the base is fixed to the desk as a sort of lever device. The movement stops the water flowing in from above, and it starts to drain out through several nozzles that sit along the walls. Meanwhile, a door opens, pointing him towards a long and winding spiral staircase. It leads up to the top of the tower. Leon bolts in as the door shuts behind his back. This time, the room lights up completely. The chamber is circular in shape, and at its center lies a bookstand with a significant tome on top. Closing in, Leon reads the title, Blood Magic. Everything seems easy, perhaps too easy. But Leon has a shut door behind him, and there is no way out. Out of nowhere, a fire elemental appears, ready to jump on the sorcerer.
Okay, it's a fire element. Water elements. Clearly you use water to fight fire, obviously. And also, this is a fire-based trap, water's the opposite of fire. I think we're starting to suss out the logic of this place. Let's go.
Leon kills the Guardian and takes the book. A secret door opens along the side of the tower, and he steps in. A row of torches lights his path. Even though he can't fathom how any of it is possible, 1,000 thoughts rush through his mind. He has faced many dangers, including death. However, he had done it. The tunnel takes him outside, from where Leon will resume his journey.
Alright, Leon, let's continue. Yes. Okay, well, I guess we're just taking in all of the above approach, Leon. What's this button do? Ah, it's like the save button. Okay. Great. Alright. For the dragon? I mean, you know, might as well.
Without hesitation, Leon decides to head to Laganasan. The cold desert is an inhospitable region inhabited only by outlaws. Its border is marked by an imposing metal fence. No one has ever been able to climb over it. Several barracks are placed along it, evenly spaced, with hosts of soldiers. Each troop is numbered. The changing of the garrison takes place but once a year. A patrol sees Leon and stops him. They warn him against heading across the border alone. Leon tries to pull rank as a sorcerer, meaning to persuade them to let him through. Instead, the soldiers surround him and escort him to the highest ranking officer.
And this is?
The captain inquires.
He wouldn't say.
One of the soldiers replies.
Talk then, or I'll lock you up.
If you talk, you can always fight later. Fight, you can't necessarily talk later, so we'll answer his questions. We'll try to get out of this peacefully.
My name is Leon. I'm a wizard of Balinor.
He speaks. What brings you so far from home?
My business is none of your concern.
You arrogant fool. I'll have you whipped before I'll throw you in the cell. Now answer my questions.
The captain of the guards is infuriated, and Leon doesn't like orders. The wizard must now decide whether to submit and start answering, or to attack.
Huh. Yeah, I don't think getting imprisoned is necessarily the right call here. Or maybe it is. I like the roots, honestly. Because doesn't kill anyone, but leaves them, you know, like, incapacitated. Roots, clearly.
Leon is fast, and the soldiers have no time to react. His hands are as quick as his tongue, and he unleashes the spell. Despite the devastating effects on his opponents, he is safe. The sorcerer smugly smirks. The maimed bodies of the foolish men lie on the ground, the smell of blood and guts beginning to taint the stale air of the barracks.
Also clear that's the wind thing being shown. Oh well, we'll just explore the territory. It's fine.
Once over the border, Leon explores the area. The ground is black, as if covered by volcanic ashes, and the climate is much colder than that of Kelsinar. Under a matte gray sky, dark sand and desolation goes on as far as the eye can see. Walking his tedious path, he chances upon a lonely traveler. The two spot each other from afar, but do not try to avoid the inevitable encounter. The traveler has scaly skin, and a forked tongue darts in and out of his mouth as if he were a snake. He stops in front of Leon.
Who are you?
He asks. Someone very dangerous if you get in my way. A friend, if you choose to trust me.
Your name is...
Leon Munar. You may have heard of me. The other doesn't reply. His eyes open wide, and he falls to his knees.
Now I recognize you. Your fame and your past precede you. I am Ferion, your humble servant.
Cautiously, Leon asks him to explain.
Everyone knows of the last great wizard able to dominate the elements. What brings you here?
I have my reasons. I should kill you for the mere fact you have seen me, but perhaps I won't. Leon's threat sparks fear in Ferion, startling him.
I am sure you'll find me useful if you spare me.
The wizard seems to mull over the plea and decides to test him. I'm looking for the dragon who dwells in these lands. Do not question me, just answer, as I have no time to lose.
You need to head north, my lord. You'll find a black hill surrounded by bones. There, you'll find a cave. That's where the reptile lives. No one dares approach it.
If you have spoken the truth, wait for me in the city of Snelfos. I'll reward you fairly. If you are lying, however, I will seek you out and I will kill you. How will I cross the border, though? It's under surveillance.
Barracks number 7 is empty.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds legit. Let's go.
After some time, Leon finds the hill surrounded by bones, just as the Snake Man had described it. The glacial cold is in sharp contrast with the burnt color of the dragon's lair. A strange feeling grips Leon's stomach, but he doesn't give in. He knows which way to go. A nauseating smell comes straight from the cave's center. There, he finds a huge reptile, curled up and resting. It is motionless, snoring blissfully. This is the moment of truth. Here, Leon could find a powerful and nearly invincible ally.
Alright. Let's do this. The dragon.
The wizard decides to step into the cave, and an eye is soon upon him. The dragon rises abruptly, spreading its mighty wings that take up the entire den. It roars and bellows a flame upwards. The dragon is imposing. Next to it, Leon is merely an ant. Its back is covered in scales, while its belly resembles that of a snake, slimy and gross. Leon's gaze follows the coils of fire as they rise. He notices that the hill's ceiling is open to the skies, allowing the creature to come and go as it pleases. A primal fear grips the wizard's heart, but his determination prevails. The situation is critical, and he must act now.
Blasting water didn't work too well last time, and clearly, given the environment, that looks like water, right? This dragon isn't exactly, like, unaccustomed to having water hit him, so I say we shield ourselves from the fire with a shield of water. Let's go.
The wall of water conjured by Leon shields him from the blast of fire, confusing the dragon. Leon must seize this moment and decide whether to hurl a volley of water blasts at its head to knock it out without wounding it, or to block the movement of its limbs by summoning roots from the ground.
Well, thus far, the head has been a much greater concern than the limbs, so, I guess we go for the head. The roots would be more...
His play succeeds, and the dragon collapses to the ground, exhausted. Leon approaches the reptile and lays a hand on its snorting snout. Leon gathers a state of utmost concentration as he was taught by the wizards of Amarin. He exploits his telepathic abilities to sneak into the mind of the now tame beast. He conveys the message that he is a friend who simply needs its help. The dragon is confused, and the wizard manages to flatter it quite easily. Despite its colossal size and devastating power, it is still just a simple-minded animal. Even though Leon has gained control over the dragon, he can't take advantage of all its talents just yet. Therefore, he decides to go back to pursue the other aspects of his plan. Now that he's established a lasting bond, he'll be able to summon the beast to his side whenever he shall want.
Oh, cool. Alright, I guess we'll continue. I think we've fulfilled every other part of the plan. Do we just attack now? Is that what happens? Ah, prologue end. Right, this is just the prologue we're playing right now. I almost forgot about that. Let's go. Oh, it's over. Okay, guys. Well, alright, that seems to be the prologue for the Ballad Singer. Is that what this is called? Right, yeah. It looks like we actually do have the other two characters available now for the next chapter. And actually, it looks like we can't actually get off this page onto a menu or anything until we select one, so, here, we'll just select, and Guren, the ranger, because why the heck not? And, okay. The beginning. Okay, cool.
You succeeded in your first mission. You tracked down Darag.
Alright. That is where we're going to have to call it for this first look. We got through the whole prologue. I'd say that's a decent place to end it for now. And what do I think of... I think this is called the Ballad Singer, right? Yeah, the Ballad Singer. And yeah. I mean, so far, there definitely seems to be an interesting world and lore here. That seems to be a thing that exists. I look forward to seeing more of that. The storylines so far seem, at least generally speaking, compelling. Yeah, so far standard fantasy fare, but I'm curious to see where they go with it. Already, though, the ranger girl, the green one, is kind of an interesting thing with this kind of, granted, I don't read or watch a ton of fantasy, so I'm not sure maybe this is actually a super common trope, but this sort of, like, magically engineered race thing. I think technically the orcs in Lord of the Rings were that, or Uruk-hai or something. But anyways, that's an interesting direction there. And as far as the structure goes, it's interesting. Seems a very choice-heavy game. A lot of the choices, though, are certainly the kinds, at least thus far in the prologue, that are just kind of, you made X choice, and now you're dead. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is something to be aware of. If that's not the type of choices you like to see, if you like to see more along the lines of, I make X choice, and then it branches the story, that I don't know, maybe it has more of that going forward, maybe the prologue just has a lot of those sort of death choices, or maybe that's how the game works in general. I'm not certain yet. I haven't played anything other than what we have here. And yeah, the narration is certainly nice to have. And the artwork, I will say as well. The presentation in general, the music's good, the narration is nice to have, the art is quite good as well in general. And yeah, it just seems like an overall decent game. And in terms of length, I think it boasts about like 40 hours of narration or something. I'm not sure how much a single playthrough would take, or even really... It definitely boasts replayability, although I can't personally confirm that at present. Certainly if you die, I guess there would be a lot of replayability. And also, there does seem to be a mechanic. It didn't come up in the prologue, but there does seem to be a mechanic where your characters can just kind of die and the story continues. I could be mistaken about that, but that seems to be a thing. Overall, yeah, the Ballad Singer. I'd say it's definitely worth checking out, and I would definitely be up to playing some more of the Ballad Singer if you guys want to see more of it. And yeah, if you do, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of that sort of fun stuff, and we could very well do a full playthrough of the Ballad Singer. It's like I said, I'm intrigued. I want to see really where this is going, and a series that gives you the perfect excuse to do that. But anyways, guys, until then, I've been Summycraft, and I'll catch you in the next video. Whether more The Ballad Singer, or something else. Goodbye.